Hi everyone, Aldbar here. This is going to be a solo run of Heroic Shroud on Elite. I'll do my best to point out all the important points and explain what's going on. First up, this is where everybody steps in. You buff usually over here. Once you talk to the NPC, a portal will show up. And once the portal shows up, you're on a timer. Once the portal's down, you can no longer access the rest of the raid. So anybody who comes late after this point will be stuck outside over here. I mean, you can come in just for the favor or for the XP if it's at level, but you won't have any access to any of the chests. So if you're still waiting for somebody who didn't show up, this is your chance before you talk to the NPC. Once this portal shows up over here, the raid is officially started and you're on timer. Anyway, this raid has 5 phases. This is phase 1. The main objective of this phase is to beat down these portals that will spawn soon. The first thing you need to do is run in here and clean out all the mobs. And once you clean out all the mobs, the first portal will spawn and you'll have to get on with beating up the portals. These 4 collectibles I just ran past are actually items that you can use in the raid. Once you leave the raid, they drop. So don't make cosmetics out of them. You'll lose your cosmetic when you leave the raid. Here you can see the first portal. And there's something called portal keepers that spawn. If they do, you have to kill them in less than a minute. And if you don't, you fail the raid. If the portal keeper spawns, you'll see above that pillar there'll be like a gate with flaming with red flames. That'll be the indicator if there's a portal keeper. Other than that, just run around and hit all the portals. When you beat a certain amount of them down, more of them will spawn in. Doing this at level, usually the whole party will stick together and they'll run in a cycle. So if you're doing this for the first time, just stick with the party, you run up, hit the portal, run to the next one. If you're doing it with a group who's over level and they're just doing it for materials, so everybody will just run around in circles. By the time you show up to a portal, they'll probably be dead and they'll be on their way to the next one, so no stress, just follow the group and you'll be fine. As you've noticed probably, the portals are immune to energy types. So it's important to have something that can hit them. So if you're melee, there'll be resistance to your slashing or bludgeoning, but the elemental part of your damage won't hit at all. If you're a caster and all you do is pure elemental damage, you're in trouble. Luckily, usually if you're not doing this solo, you don't have to worry about it. There'll always be somebody who can hit it. And it goes pretty quick anyways, especially these days. I want to point out that most of the players in DDO don't run raids. It might be to do with the fact that a lot of DDO players like to solo things, and raids is one of those things that's really hard to solo, especially the first time because you don't know what you're doing. So I'm putting out this guide to help you to either get over the anxiety of joining a party because you'll actually know what to do and actually know how it looks, or maybe you'll just be able to solo by yourself. I know it took me a long time till I joined the party for the first time. I was petrified from it. I had to push myself into it, and it was really nerve-wracking, so I definitely can sympathize with anybody who doesn't want to join a raid party. Also, it was pretty hard for me at the time to find any good videos who explained what goes on. It was usually a party with a whole bunch of people running around, with just music in the background in the best case, and they didn't really explain what they're doing or what the objectives were. And all I got was from the wiki. So I'm trying to make up for that, and hopefully you'll get a pretty good idea of what needs to be done. I'll try to explain all the finer details. This is the final portal. This is the end of phase 1. You'll see these have these altars over here for crafting. You're meant to craft in the shroud itself, but you don't have to. You can just go onto a guild ship, even if you don't have one. Ask for a guild invite for crafting. Somebody will invite you to a party and then invite you to their guild ship. And you can do it on their ship with all the time in the world. No rush. It's customary in these raids to either buff by the shrine, or usually people buff on top of the altar. The altar is the key to the next phase. Click the altar and it starts the next phase. Usually people stand on top of the altar and stand here and get buffs when they go to the next phase.
The altar of the waning moon shimmers as it aligns the lunar bodies.
Okay, this is phase 2. The goal over here is to destroy a crystal. To do that, you first need to kill 4 bosses. These 4 bosses have a special ward on them that prevents you from killing them while they're in close proximity one to each other. So you have to get them all down to a very low health, split them up and kill them. That's the challenge in this part. Now, quick note, once you've killed them once, the second time you don't have to split them up anymore. You can kill them all standing in the same spot. So your goal is to try to get him to low level, split them up and kill them. Now, there's this crystal in the middle with this ward around it. If they run back, their soul runs back to the crystal, they'll respawn. So you want to find a corner that's farthest away from the crystal. On the map, it's the bottom left corner. That's why you'll see parties always run to the bottom left corner. They'll group over there. Somebody will go pull the 4 bosses and they'll start hitting on them all together. Usually there'll be somebody designated to stand next to the crystal, like a caster, somebody who can put out a lot of damage very fast, and as soon as the shield goes down, they'll break the crystal. Now if you look closely, next to the bosses is like these glowing orbs that spin around them. These glowing orbs are indicators of how many bosses are in close proximity to them. So right now these 2 you can see have 2. Now there's a 3rd one already. That means the 3rd boss is getting close. Now you can see they have 4. That means all 4 bosses at the same spot. This can give you an indicator if they're separated or not. If you have a boss running after you and he's got only 1 orb around him, that means he's not in close proximity to anybody, you can kill him. For now, my trick is like this. I'm doing this solo. I don't have anybody to help me with splitting them. So the goal is to hit everybody. They all go into a minus hit points. The only thing that keeps them from dying is the fact they're in close proximity to each other. So I'm going to make sure that all of them have a minus or a negative hit point score. Then I'm just going to run to the crystal. Now, since they all have a different speed, a different walking speed, as they chase after me, they'll get a distance between each other, and as soon as they split apart, they'll automatically die. That's the goal at least. Now in this particular case, I've got really bad RNG. I've got also the fire elemental and also the cat. Both of them run really, really fast. We can make this really hard, especially on things like if you're doing this on Legendary Shroud. Heroic Shroud is not too bad. I've got plenty of DPS, I can kill them really fast. Okay, here I'm satisfied that I've got everybody down to a negative score, and I'm going to run to the crystal. And you'll watch, as they chase me, you'll see the text come up here. First one's dead. There's the second one. Now, I was unlucky over here. Apparently, I think the orc healed himself. Here, the cat comes back already, and he resurrects himself. I kill him instantaneously, but I see the ward doesn't go down yet. At this point, I go back to see what's going on. Here, I see that the orc rezzed himself. Here's how the shield goes down. Anyways, at this point, I realize that they're all standing too close to the crystal, and it's going to be annoying. So I just drag them back and try again. This time, as I said before, I don't have to wait for them to all be separated. I can just kill them all at the same time. So I'm just going to bring them back to the corner where they're farthest away from the crystal and do it like that. You have got all four of them. I'm going to try to go first for the slower bosses, the ones who walk slower. That way, they'll take them the most time to catch up. Troll is first because he walked really slow. I accidentally killed the fire elemental. I shouldn't have done. He walks way too fast. Then I got the orc and then the cat. The fire elemental already resurrected himself, but that's not a big deal. As long as it's just 10, it's not a problem. There we go, break the crystal. It's funny how they resurrected themselves already, but this is going to be the final time, now that the crystal is no longer there. Anyways, you don't really need to kill them the second time. Once the crystal's down, you're done. The barrier opens and you're passed to the next phase. Phases 1 and 2 give you lesser ingredients, small ingredients, and shards of power. The altar is in phase 1, or on a guild ship. Okay, this is phase 3. You have two objectives here. First is solve all the puzzles, these light puzzles. Every time you solve a puzzle, we'll open up the barrier and let you out of the room. Every player will be assigned to a random room. There's 11 different puzzles. So in a full party, there'll be at least 2 people in one room. Now the way these puzzles work is you stand on any light, and it affects it and the ones adjacent to it, not in diagonals. Now as you go through it, you have a timer ticking back in the background. At a certain point, a big light barrier will show up, a prismatic wall. And if you walk through it, you instantaneously die. So I'm hurrying to first thing solve all the puzzles, so I don't have to do it under stress of the wall showing up. Also, they have these whirling blades, they'll hit you. Now I'll explain basically my strategy for solving the puzzles. I divide the puzzle up into lines. And I start from one edge, and I look to make sure that the whole line is solved by solving the line that's next to it. And I keep on moving up the line until I get to the end of the puzzle. I'll show you what I mean in the next puzzle. Also, these yellow circles, if you stand in them, they make this burst go off. It debuffs you. You have to be able to pick locks. If not, you can break the crystal, but if you do, you won't be able to get an extra chest. Here I'm solving it from the right. Trying to fill up all the lines starting from the right. And as you see, I filled it up. You can use knock on these levers. Once you walk in, the gate will lock on you. You won't be able to get out unless you can pick locks. That's why it's very important to do this before the wall is down. Before the wall is up, or you'll get stuck. Here's the crystals you have to break to get into the center room. Once you get into the center room, you'll have to do something called run water, pun intended. Bring these vials of water from the fountain, and you put it into the fountains over here. There's a single circle room. This one basically touches whatever circle you touch, the two next to it. Once you get down to one circle, you step on it, and then you solve the circle around from there. More often than not, you'll make some kind of small mistake and find yourself completely flustered, and it happens. You can use a solver. You can look it up on your phone or something and just have it available. You type in, basically, you press the same layout you have, the puzzle that you see in front of you, and then the solver will give you the answer of which to step on. Basically right now I'm completely thrown off beat, and all I'm doing is running around until I get some kind of pattern that I recognize, and I see that, oh, I need a step here or there. I honestly am completely lost at this point. Just the pressure because of the wall showing up is scaring me. If you're doing this in a party, dying from the wall is not a big deal. So somebody come and pick you up and resurrect you, and it's nothing to worry about. You're doing this solo and you got this far. If you die, it's all over, so I really don't want to die. The 4 puzzle is the easiest one, actually. Here I'm going to start from the end. I'm starting from the right end. Now the first right line is done. Now I'm going to go to the second one. And that's it. Now I've solved all of the puzzles. Now I'm going to start running water. At this point, the wall is going to soon show up, and I'll just be careful and aware of where the wall is at all times, so I don't run into it.
The pool of water is continually refreshed by an ancient marble statue in this picture.
You have to walk up to this fountain, click on it, and it'll give you this vial of water. You can only take one at a time, so there's 12 fountains overall. You'll have to run to each one of them individually. You have to run, click on it, and that's how you activate it. At low levels, these blades can give you a lot of trouble, so I would recommend running counterclockwise, so you only cross them once. If you're running alongside them, so you can get stuck inside of a whole group of blades and just keep on taking damage. If you run against it, if you run clockwise, you're actually running across them. And also you're running the same direction as the wall. Here you can see the wall. Now it's actually, the way they designed it, it's actually made out of a few thin layers with like 0 thickness. So when you look at them from the side, you actually can't see them unless it's in a slight angle. You see, like now, it looks like it disappeared for a second because they waver, they move back and forth. they don't move smoothly in one direction. So it's very, very important to keep a little bit of a distance. They don't all of a sudden slide back and hit you. You can be really surprised by it. It'll come out of nowhere. So be very careful with that. Give it its distance. Also, the way it goes is it goes all the way to the end, and then it starts from the adjacent side. So it doesn't actually like turn. So you'll see it go. It will go out and disappear it will disappear to the end of the hall, and then it will start from the edge of that hall. Here I'm jumping up to get a view over the wall and see if it's coming in my direction. I'm going to try to put water in the fountain over here before the wall comes. I'll be honest, I'm risking a little bit just because I want to speed things up for this video. If I'll be doing this solo by myself, I'd definitely just take my time and not try to rush it. The fact that I've solved all the puzzles means I don't really have any pressure. It's just a time to wait for the wall and walk to the next puzzle and put in the water. It's not a big deal. I don't have to think really fast or anything like that. At this point I know that the wall is going to already block my access, so I'm going around. You can see in the objectives I've got 7 more to go. Also, there's the other little objective over there, collect 100 infernal packs. It's a broken objective, you can't complete it. I don't know why the devs just don't erase it. Anyways, ignore it. Sometimes people will prefer to break the crystals over the rooms instead of solving the puzzle. I don't think it's worth it because the thing who actually takes the most amount of time is bringing the water, running water, and breaking the crystal doesn't really save you anything. Solving the puzzle is not the problem. Running the water is the thing that takes time, and you can't avoid that anyways. Breaking the crystal doesn't help you. You still have to run water, and you just lose out 2 chests. The third phase gives you the medium ingredients and shards of great power. Also, you have access to the second altar. Note that there's 11 rooms, 11 puzzles, and 12 fountains. The one in the far side, the center room, has 2 fountains. Also, the wall goes around the perimeter of the center room, and as long as you're inside of the center room, you're safe. As you can see here, I'm going to wait for it to pass by. Interesting fact, the room over here to the left, and also the one on the other side, are inside of the center perimeter. If you stand inside, close to the wall, you'll be safe from the barrier, from the prismatic wall. So, it's a good thing to know. Make a shout out for the first guy who soloed Shroud. It was done, he was level 20. And he was a Warforged sorcerer. This was before Epic Destinies or anything. So being level 20 wasn't like it was today. You don't have tons of extra things to boost your power. He did it on normal, and it took him about 6 hours. You can read the post on the forums. The achievement then was actually way more impressive than what I'm doing right now. Here I know my speed is faster than the prismatic wall, so I'm running back this way rather than waiting for it to pass through the opening. Every time I leave the room I jump to get a glimpse of where the wall is. In this case I know it's coming right up behind me. If you are planning to solo this, but you can't open locks, don't have knock spell, so then your only option is to break the crystals. And you'll miss out on the chests in the middle. But other than that, you should try to solve all the puzzles if possible. As I said, running water, as you can see, is a thing that really takes all the time. I realized I didn't actually hit the fountain. Anyway, this is the final fountain. Once I put it in, the wall will go down. But the blades don't disappear. You still have to be aware of that. This lowers the barrier to the chests underwater and the barrier that takes you to the altar and to the next phase. This raid has a whole bunch of chests, 12 to 14, and you should definitely come in here with some space, some extra space in your bag, or you'll keep on being stuck at not being able to just loot all. I didn't rest before this phase because I didn't need my burst DPS. Because you don't fight any enemies in this phase. I'm gonna rest now though, and get all my buffs on. This is a vendor. You can use him to buy Shavarath cells, and you can repair all of your items and sell your junk. I really wish they'd had this in more raids. It's very convenient to be able to empty out all the trash from your bag. The next phase is the raid boss. He has DR of silver and good. So make sure you have a weapon who can bypass that. Or really stop. It's going to hurt your DPS if you don't. And he's immune to fire. He's resistant to acid and to cold.
Shimmers into existence.
But not to electricity at all.
A small devil scout.
Okay, this is phase 4.
To this ancient
You start off by cleaning up just trash. The devils over here spawn swirling blades when you kill them. They dissipate after a few seconds, but just step away from where you killed them. Okay, once you kill the trash at the beginning, now the phase is going to start. Every phase starts with 4 devils. Once you kill the 4 devils, Electronica, or usually known as Harry, will come down, and the round will start. There'll be these swirling blades who go around, and at a certain time, Harry will go back up. And if you don't kill him by then, you'll have to go for another round. The difference between the first and second rounds is from second and up, you'll also have these gnolls who will spawn, who will bind them to spot. And you'll have to kill them first, before you can kill the boss. Anyways, usually in parties, they do something like this. They take their time with killing the devils to allow the blades to dissipate. Maybe they'll stone one of them or make him dance. Basically not let him move. Wait for all the blades to dissipate and then kill him. So I'm just showing what you should be expected to do in a regular party. Once the last one's down, the boss comes. Whirling blades slowly close in. That will be the indicator for when the round is about to end. He doesn't move in this phase. He just blasts you with these delayed blast fireball. So if you got evasion, there shouldn't be any problem at all. Once he flies back up, you'll see him, he's up top over here. He drops the delayed blast fireball in the middle of the arena, so just don't stand in the middle. Go fly back and forth, and then the second round will start. Again, 4 devils, you kill them, and then the next round starts. This time I'm not going to wait as much about killing the devils, I'm just going to go for it, because I've already showed the point. And the blades obviously don't really bother me. As soon as he comes down, there'll be these gnolls I mentioned before who will spawn. You'll see they're connected to them, and you have to kill them first if you want to be able to finish off the boss. Typically, you won't get to this phase. People have so much DPS these days that you usually finish the boss in one round. So. Very important to note, if you die in this phase, you'll be teleported as a ghost to the next phase. It's part of the mechanic of this raid. Now, there will be no way to resurrect you, even if you're in a party. The only thing is, when they click on the altar at the end of this phase, you'll be teleported back for 10 seconds to the center of the arena. So be ready for it. There'll be people waiting to resurrect you. So make sure you click as soon as they say they want to resurrect you. If not, just wait in the second phase, in the final phase, and they'll come pick you up. Again, if this is solo and you die, you're done. There's no way back. Going to the 5th phase, you go through death. So A, do not do this on the hardcore server. That's going to be the end of your character. B, you don't need a buff, because as soon as you click on the altar and go through the portal kills you. So all of your buffs go off. But you should rest to get all your bursts and all of that back.
The trip to the lost moon will be traumatic. Do not abandon your quest yet. Trust in the
This is the final and fifth. This is the 5th and final phase.
Why am I here?
Everybody usually just steps back a little bit and stands here
What is this trickery?
while the dialogue goes on.
Electronica roars at his imprisonment.
You have done this. You and those pitiful lodgers. My wrath will burn all of Zendrick.
These are the same 4 bosses you killed
Destroy
before.
them, my lieutenants, while I
Again, you'll have to kill all 4 of them, and once you kill all 4 of them, you'll be able to fight the boss. You'll be able to fight Harry.
As the crystal shatters, the lieutenants of Shroud return to battle. Electronica floats above, so he can recover the Eclipse.
Standing inside of these fountains gives you a small amount of hit points and spell points. Now, every time you step into the fountain, it gives you a little bit. So if you run across the corner, you're stepping in and stepping out really, really fast. It will fill up all your hit points and spell points. Now, it's not really relevant these days, but if you're doing it at level, or at least when it used to be done, you know, the maximum character level was 20. If you didn't fill up your spell points and hit points, you couldn't finish it. You weren't powerful enough. So everybody would stand and run past that corner and fill up their hit points and spell points. To make this easier, they usually keep one boss alive, either the Earth Elemental or the Fire Elemental. Somebody with evasion will get aggro, and they'll just stand while everybody else runs and fills up the hit points and spell points. The first time I ran Shroud, I didn't know about this, so I started hitting on the Fire Elemental. Next thing you know, everybody's staring at me like, I was wondering why they're not helping me. It's like, help, I'm gonna die! Anyways, somebody starts yelling at me at the chat, don't touch him! I didn't know he was talking to me. Eventually, I realized that they were talking about not hitting the Fire Elemental, and somebody saved me. But I survived pretty nice. I only had 480 hit points back then at level 20. That was before Epic Destinies. I was a warrior with no evasion. You'd think I'm a gimp. Anyways, but I did have Silver Flame healing potions, and I survived pretty nice. But if you're in a party and they leave one monster, that's what they're doing. They're just letting everybody fill up. But you probably won't see that today. But it's a good thing to know anyways. I'm just taking a second to rebuff. I didn't buff at the beginning. Once I'm set, I'll just kill the Fire Elemental and go. You used to be able to jump up over there, but it's no longer possible. They blocked it off. You just saw now, in this phase, Harry can summon you to him. So if you're out of range, he can still randomly call a player to him. Over here it's just me, so I'm the player who's going to call to him and pull you into range. In range, you can hit you with melee, and also we can put a special poison attack on you, who's disease and poison together. Just to point out, usually if you can solo Shroud, you usually wouldn't do it. Meaning, there's no reason for you to come in here all by yourself. You'd already bring your dual window or more and bring some mules together with you to pick up extra materials. Or at least open up a party, or make running water faster. There's no reason why you should do this purely solo. So, this is more like a bucket list item that I always had. Now the true reason I did it in this case is I made a video about how to farm Resia ice gems. Now, you have to kill monsters, fire monsters, to get Resia ice gems. The regular yellow and orange give you white ice gems. Red names give you blue ice gems, like the fire elemental over here gave me a few blue ice gems. Every time I killed him I got one. And Harry, who's a purple name, gives you a purple ice gem. Now when I heard about this, I wanted to come in, this was many years ago, I wanted to come in and get a purple ice gem. My plan was, I'll come in, I'll kill the boss. Out of a group of 12, I had high hopes. I'll get the kill and get an ice gem. And then when I trade it in, out of all the random things that I could get, I'll get scroll number 5, what I needed for Icy Burst. Guess what? That's exactly what happened. The first time I joined Shroud, I believe, was because I wanted a purple ice gem. Anyways, so for this video, I was gonna throw in a line at the end. In the Resia Ice video, I was going to throw in a line, well, you can just solo Shroud. And then I did. The problem is, there's only a random chance if you will or won't get an actual gem out of a kill. There's always a small chance you don't. Well, in this case, I didn't. Well, at least I got it off my bucket list to solo Shroud on Elite. If I do this again, I'll definitely come in with a party. There's no reason why I should do it by myself. You get more materials if you bring in more people. But anyways, that's that. I just thought it was a funny story. Here he gave me the poison attack. Anyways, I really hope you enjoyed this. And just consider hitting subscribe and liking. I'd appreciate it. If you like more of these solo raids, in-depth views, I'll be very happy to post more as much as I can. So maybe leave a comment. Tell me what would you like to see next. If I can, I will. Anyways, on Elite you get 4 chests. This is definitely the best, most materials. Back in the day when people used to farm chests, they used to come, beat the boss, then leave. So they would miss out on the last chest, but they wouldn't be on timer. They could just re-enter again and farm the chests in phase 4 to get larger materials. The portal that opens up over here, there's a portal to each phase. This is the 5th altar, right over there. Again, you can go to a ship and do it there. You don't have to craft it in the Shroud itself. But the portals you can see on the side over there, on the back of the room, they take you to each one of the different phases. So if you wanted to do the crafting here, once the raid is over, you can go and teleport between the different phases and do your crafting. So you don't have to do it under pressure in the middle of the Shroud. Anyways, when you're finished, it's very important, don't forget to turn in your quest or you won't get off timer. I usually recommend either take the material that you most need or just take the material that comes from the quest, because it's hard to run a whole quest just for one material. Anyways, again, if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Here I've got a few little clips from my failed attempts. I made one attempt before this and I messed it up. So here I'm going to show off what I mentioned before about this room. The rooms that are inside of the internal, the middle perimeter are not affected by the barrier. I was just minding my own business trying to solve this problem, this puzzle that gave me problems last time, until suddenly this happened. I'll admit, it was really scary. I really jumped. I wasn't expecting that at all. But I found that at least you don't die when you're inside this room if the barrier comes past. This is why you should always solve all the puzzles before you start running water. Believe me, you don't need this anxiety. This is one thing you don't need. Yeah. Got scammed. Anyways, that's it. I really hope you enjoyed this. It was fun making. Hope you enjoyed watching it. So, take care. Bye.